So we're going to start on this page here. All right, so the brain, part two, the cerebellum has two primary functions. The first one is adjusting the postural muscles of the body. The cerebellum coordinates rapid automatic adjustments that maintains balance and equilibrium. So these two functions, maintaining balance and equilibrium, will resurface multiple times over the span of this course and the program, especially even if we're outside and we start to assess real athletes that have concussion-like symptoms. We will see how balance and equilibrium can be affected from traumatic brain injuries. So if you ever see an individual that's losing their balance and equilibrium, just know that it has the cerebellum, that the cerebellum has been impacted negatively and is being affected, is causing the issue to occur. So balance and equilibrium is a massive, massive component to remember. We're even going to highlight it. It's that important. So just highlight balance and equilibrium on your sheet. And even highlight the cerebellum here as well. The second primary function to mention is programming and fine-tuning movements controlled at conscious and subconscious levels. Breaking that down, the cerebellum refines learned movement patterns such as riding a bicycle. Or another skill like playing the piano. So you can think of other skills too, right? Even when it comes to sports skills, when it comes to writing, when it comes to flying a kite, things like that that you learn. The cerebellum helps with those learned movement patterns and helps to refine them and really help define motor control with those movement patterns. The cerebellum also compares the motor, and as we mentioned before, that refers to movement. Commands with proprioceptive which in easier terms to remember, is considered a position sense. For example, position sense is I'm standing up. I know where I'm at. I know my position. I'm able to maintain balance and standing up in space because of my sense of my position as I stand up. Um, you all are sitting down in desks, so you have the capability of sitting upright. Let's say you don't have a back on your seat. Let's say you're sitting on a stool with no back, or let's say you're sitting on a therapy ball, Swiss ball. You're sitting upright. You have the position sense to know where you're at in space. And with that understanding, you have the capability of not falling over. Okay, so that is a summary of what position sense means. So the cerebellum also prepares the motor movement commands with proprioceptive position sense information and stimulates any adjustments needed to make the movement smooth. The cerebellum receives proprioceptive information from the spinal cord and monitors all proprioceptive visual tactile, which tactile is considered touch. Balance and auditory sensations received by the brain. The cerebellum can be permanently damaged by trauma or stroke. Drugs such as alcohol can also temporarily affect it. The result is ataxia, a disturbance in muscle coordination. In severe ataxia, the individual cannot sit or stand without assistance. So we're going to go back up to proprioceptive on both, and then we're going to highlight those two. All right, so that's the cerebellum. It's super important part of the brain that has a lot to do with coordination, balance, equilibrium, as mentioned just recently here. All right, the hypothalamus is the next part, component. The hypothalamus contains centers involved with emotions and visceral. And again, visceral refers to organ tissue. Processes that affect the cerebrum as well as components of the brainstem. They secrete two hormones. Secretion of two hormones. First one is anti-diuretic hormone. ADH is the abbreviation, restricts water loss by the kidneys. And then oxytocin, which stimulates smooth muscle contraction in the uterus during pregnancy and the mammary glands in females and the prostate in males. So just briefly, oxytocin is the hormone that speeds up muscle contractions in the uterus to assist the mother in delivering or having the baby. So we're going to highlight oxytocin. Because this is going to be something you'll be tested on. I probably won't ask you about anti-diuretic hormone, but oxytocin I will. All right, two, hypothalamus also is very, very important in helping with the regulation of body temperature. And then the third one is control of autonomic function, which I'll break that down for you now, which autonomic function has a few components to that. This is not all of it, but it's a few that are important for what we learn in here. Regulation of heart rate, regulation of blood pressure, regulation of respiration, and regulation of digestive function. Right? And then four, Four is regulation of circadian rhythms. Regulation of circadian rhythms, and I'll give you what a little bit of a breakdown on that on the next page. Regulation of circadian rhythms. So if we go to the next page, that is a 24-hour a day-night cycle. So the circadian rhythms regulation of is it allows you to understand um, sleep patterns, sleep when you're supposed to go to sleep, when you're supposed to wake up, things like that. Assuming you, even when you are working at nighttime and you're supposed to, and you know you're sleeping in the day, it still allows you to understand what that looks like for that 24-hour cycle throughout the day and night. All right, the fifth one is subconscious control, skeletal muscle contractions. This directs somatic motor patterns. Again, remember motor refers to movement. Associated with rage, pleasure, pain, and sexual arousal. For example, it contains changes or controls, sorry, controls changes in facial expressions that accompany rage. So the hypothalamus will um, help with that or helps control that. So pain, uh, if something hurts, automatically automatic facial expression is going to be a painful expression. Um, Happy, pleasure. Oh my gosh, I just got a brand new car. Thank you so much, Mom, for buying me that car for Christmas. You know, we have the expression of happiness and pleasure and love and all of that. So, um, sadness, right? Same thing. Going back to or worry, right? Or like, man, like I just wish I didn't have to go through this type of thing. Even when my cousin was in the hospital, I'm not going into the hospital looking like I'm happy. I'm going to the hospital like concerned, like just an overall feeling of not grief, but like, ah, man, like I just wish this wasn't happening. Six, production of emotions and behavioral drives. Stimulates feeding center produces sensation of hunger, thirst, oops, hold on. Produces sensation of hunger, sorry, period. This is a period. The thirst center produces sensation of thirst. So stimulates feeding center that produces sensation of hunger, period. And then the thirst center produces sensation of thirst. And this is a period too. Sorry. I guess it can be a comma. And satiety center that produces sensation of feeling full after eating. All right, let me go down here to the brain anatomy. Okay, so there's a few lobes, quite a few lobes to talk about. The frontal lobe's function is voluntary, control, skeletal muscle. Parietal lobe, we're going to write it in here. Conscious, control, sorry, conscious perception. Conscious perception, touch, pressure, pain, vibration, taste, and temperature. May have to write small on that. Conscious perception, touch, pressure, pain, vibration, taste, and temperature. Temporal lobe, conscious perception, auditory, olfactory stimuli. Occipital lobe, conscious perception, visual stimuli. Cerebellum, obviously, balance, equilibrium, coordination. And the cranium is protection. Cranium is the skull. So we're going to go back up to this page here, and we're going to change a few things. This is cortex. Just spelled wrong. And this is dura mater. And so what you'll do when we get finished here is you'll go to page 470 and page 487, and then it's D, which is the picture, 487D, and you'll label it based on page 470 and 487. Let me go to this picture here. So we'll do this together. So I'm going to give you a word bank. Everything that's starred, you'll label. The only component you won't label is the cerebrum. So there's lines here for you to label them. This is on page 487. And 487 lobes. And then so what you'll do on this sheet is you'll label and then color. And the coloring page I'll upload to Google Classroom as well. It looks like this on 487. So I will let you do that. And then when you're done, you can just keep it. You don't have to submit it at all. And then on this page here, just briefly, I'll just cover it with you. I think I mentioned it, but just go to page 470 and 487 and then label, here's your word bank, and then label the items. If you have any questions about it's a little bit difficult to see on the book or whatever, just let me know and I'll come over and help you out with that, but it should be okay.